Hello friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story where OP, an EMT, encounters a woman who demands they move their ambulance during an emergency scene, leading to her arrest when she interferes with their work. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Karen at an accident scene. I'm an EMT in a somewhat busy area. In the not-too-distant past, my ambulance was dispatched to a vehicle accident in the middle of the night. We roll up, and it's a car versus deer. Car ended up off the road, through a ditch, crashed into a tree, patient still trapped inside car, fire department's working to extricate. Due to the layout of the scene, the ambulance is pulling blocking duty on the road. My partner heads up to the accident to start rendering some on-scene care, and I hop in the back of the ambulance. As I'm getting gear laid out, I hear a horn start blaring right behind my truck. Enter Karen. So, it's not uncommon to be on one scene and have someone roll up with a totally different emergency. I hop out the side door of my truck, walk around, and I've got a car literally bumper to bumper with the back of my rig. "I need to get through, move," our Karen yells at me. I very politely inform said person that we aren't going to move. This is a dangerous accident scene with injured people. I offer to help her get turned around. Big mistake. Karen goes into a literal screaming fit about how we have to move. We're blocking the road. Exactly the point. And how she pays my salary. She doesn't. I work for a private company. At this point, I'm a little less polite and inform her that she needs to back her vehicle up because she's blocking my ability to work. Now things get stupid. Rather than be an adult and find a different route, this oxygen thief pulls forward even more. She's not only bumper to bumper, she's hit my ambulance and has the most smug grin ever. Enter my friend, the state trooper. He's been watching this cavalcade of idiocy from the sidelines, and as soon as Karen hits the ambulance, he springs into action. Karen basically gets snatched out of her car and put in handcuffs, screaming all the while. Karen problem solved. But I still have the Karen chariot blocking the rear doors to my rig. Did you know 6 firefighters can bodily lift a Ford Focus completely off the ground and relocate it? I witnessed it that day. It was great. Thus ends my Karen story. Good news, the accident victim survived, just a few broken bones. Karen discovered that interfering with emergency services is a felony in my state. Fire department got to flex their muscles. How do you go from little kid who understands right and wrong to adult who clearly doesn't? And why are there so many adults right now who've made this crappy journey? And our second story. Rental car company wants to rip me off? My multinational company won't be renting from you again. Years ago, someone hit my parked car. My insurance covered a rental and set it up for me at, let's call them Company D. They were supposed to have the car ready when I dropped mine off at the body repair shop in the AM. They didn't. Said they would deliver, so I grabbed a taxi to work on my dime. At the end of the day, they show up, have a junky Chevy economy car ready, but I have to shuttle the worker back to the rental car place. I rent a lot of cars. This is important later, so I look it over, decent shape, but the gas is like just above half. I tell the guy, and he's like, yeah, we had to run some errands, just bring it back at the same level. Oddly, I had to rent a big SUV from my usual rental car company A for work that week and was out of town. I work for a multinational consulting firm, also important, so this rental from Company D, I drove a whopping 16 kilometers when it was time to return it. I put in $5 worth of gas and dropped it off after my work trip. I get my credit card bill and there's a $70 charge. The rental should have been paid for by insurance, but my card was on hold. I call and ask what's going on. Was told I didn't return it with a full tank. I explained I got it not full. He said, you got it at 13/16, no joke, of a tank, and it was 11/16 when I dropped. So with the fuel and refueling service charge, boom, $70. I fought, sent on my $5 receipt, pointed out in-out mileage was only 16 kilometers, and this was a crap box 4-cylinder engine, so how could it use so much? I called managers, corporate, argued logically, nothing. It was the principal at this point. Eventually got a hold of some VP I found on LinkedIn or something. I said, reverse the charge and apologize, or I'll make sure we never rent from you again. He didn't care. Fast forward a couple years, I told everyone I know not to use Company D anymore. They lost some business, but it didn't hurt, I'm sure. Then, as luck would have it, our company was negotiating rates with all the big-time firms for hotels, cars, etc. Our head of procurement wanted feedback from frequent travelers from various operating companies. My name was picked for feedback as one of the more experienced global travelers. Lucky me, unlucky Company D. I told procurement that I liked this hotel chain or that airline, whatever. I kept an even keel, nonplussed. Then when it came time for rental cars, I had a big song and dance for how Company D can't be trusted, some various made-up shady practices like not having safe cars, not offering extended services, whatever I needed. A month or so later, I see our online portal that we must use to book travel no longer features Company D or the sister brands as a car rental option. I personally had probably spent $20,000 on rental cars on average. If I extrapolate that to just my operating company's 4,000 employees, that was the most expensive $70 they ever ripped someone off for. I hope you called the jerk's corporate office to let them know that they lost a ton of future business over the $70 charge. And our next story. Yes, I'm your son's teacher. Today I was reminiscing with a friend of mine. She used to be an intern of mine, but we became friends after she left, and we still hang out from time to time. We started talking about funny things that happened to us in our teaching career up until now. I'm a woman, 5'2", and look younger than I really am. It's nice now, but hearing you can only buy alcohol when you're 18 was depressing since I was 26 at the time of the remark. Since getting my degree at 23, I've been teaching. This happened when I was 27 years old, and on the same day. First incident. One of my classes had ended, and since it was my last one of the day, I decided to get some groceries done as I would have parent-teacher conferences that night. As I walked towards a shared office space to put away some things and grab my coat, I was apprehended by a parent who had their meeting with a teacher earlier in the afternoon. Parent: you shouldn't be here. You're supposed to be in class. Me: no, I finished my classes already. Parent: no, don't you lie to me. You're coming with me and we're going to sort this out. Then, I kid you not, this parent grabbed me by the elbow and dragged me to a classroom with a teacher. I was stunned and unable to say anything at that time. So this lady opens the classroom door and demands from the teacher to know in which classroom I'm in as I was found wandering the halls. In the meantime, my vice principal got closer to us as he had seen what this parent was doing. My coworker laughed and said he didn't know. Parent was stunned when the class said, "Hi, Mrs. OP." Before parent could say anything, my vice principal told us to come with him. So off we go to his office where parent was informed that it was frowned upon to harass and touch not only students, but employees of this school as well. Parent didn't want to believe him that I was a teacher, but when shown a wall with pictures of the staff, they left the office silenced and ashamed in search of the teacher they were here for. The second incident was later that night. I was waiting for my last meeting with parents when I saw them show up. So I walked out of the classroom I was in and went to them to introduce myself. Parents: oh, how nice of you to welcome us. We're here for a meeting with Mrs. OP. Tell her we're here. For the second time that day, I stood confused. They didn't believe me and scoffed. You can't possibly be our son's teacher. After 10 minutes of me trying to convince them and them getting haughtier, I called my vice principal and told him to come here. He introduced them to me. Their response: well, how could we take you seriously with how you look? To which my vice principal told them that people were employed because of their qualities, not their appearance. Lovely day it was. And funny, years later. Even if you had been a student wandering the halls, how insane would a parent be to go actually grab a student like that? As if they have any authority or duty to do so. And our last story, shutting the water off. I've debated posting this. I finally decided to do it. It happened in 2014. My wife and I moved into a condo. It was a condo attached to other condos. Everyone else had bought their condo. We were the only ones renting. A property management company owned our condo. Our next-door neighbor was an absolute bee. The first day we were moving in, she pulled in next to us. Everyone had a parking spot in front, one for each condo. We also had a garage in the back and could park in the back. When she pulled in, I tried to say hello and introduce myself. She totally ignored me and walked inside. I thought, wow, and I knew that she would not be nice. Over the next couple years, she had absolutely no use for us. We have 2 sons. Our younger son, O, was autistic. He never bothered anyone else, but did have his problems. Sometimes in the day when he was awake, he could be loud. Usually when he was angry, and he would yell. He would often walk outside. We'd have to go out and try and calm him down and bring him back in. It could probably be annoying, but it certainly didn't require calling police. She called the police on us more than once. She would also tell the others in the condo complex that O was bothering their cars. He never touched their cars, but he liked to look at them. He would lean down and examine the grill. He would say something about being police. He loved police shows. She caused a fight with another person in a condo. O came home from school one day in October. The windows were open at the time, and I heard someone yelling at him. He was crying because he didn't understand what was going on. He was on the sidewalk and was looking at a car. He was not touching it in any way. Since she'd told everyone he was messing with cars, that's what this guy thought he was doing. O also looked much older than what he was. He was already about 5'8" and 230 pounds. He was only 13. I got outside and was trying to tell the guy he hadn't touched his car. He was angry just because O was looking at it. I kept telling the guy that O was only 13, but he didn't believe me. He attacked O. O was confused and didn't understand what was going on. O was also in a wrestling club. This guy grabbed O around the neck. O bit the guy's arm and left a nice bloody mark. The cops were called and the guy tried to have O arrested. The cops wouldn't do it. Of course, they also wouldn't do anything to the guy. I wanted to press charges. I kept telling them that he had attacked a 13-year-old. They didn't care because they didn't want to file any paperwork, I'm sure. She almost got us evicted because of this. She called the management company and said that O had attacked someone. They started the eviction proceedings until I called and explained what happened. I didn't know until then that she had called them. They stopped the eviction proceedings. These condos were weird because the water shut off for the condo was in the other person's condo. The water shut off for ours was in her condo. Her water shut off was in ours. I don't know why they were like that because it never made any sense to me. Every condo had someone else's water shut off in it. They were paired, but I don't know why. We woke up one Saturday morning and we had no water. She'd left that morning. I have no idea where she went since she never talked to us and never had any use for us. She was gone for a week. I called the water company, but there were no water outages. We finally figured out that she had turned the water off before she left. We went without water for the whole weekend. We had to wait till Monday before they could contact someone with a spare key. There was a person that had spare keys for all the condos. I don't know the specifics of it other than they were gone on weekends. I don't know who held the keys. It was quite an expensive weekend for us. We had to buy water to flush the toilet. We had to eat out for all our meals because we couldn't wash anything. I worked on the weekends at the time, so we all had to go to the health club that we belonged to just so that we could take a shower. Of course, when she came back, she claimed that she didn't realize she shut our water off. I knew right away that that was BS. She knew she was shutting our water off. She knew that the water shut-off valve went to our condo. We moved out in November of 2014. We wanted to be out by Thanksgiving. We were all done by the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. That's when I saw my chance. We didn't care about the property management company since we were moving somewhere else. The woman had company over for Thanksgiving. She only had one vehicle. There was a vehicle in her garage. I saw it pulling in while we were moving stuff out of the garage, so I know she had company over. We got our last load out by 10 p.m. that night. We were not turning in the keys to the property management company until Monday. I knew that she would not be able to get a spare key until they opened on Monday. Whoever kept the keys for all the condos would not have been available till Monday either. So just before I locked the door to leave, I went to the water shut-off valve and shut it off. I wanted her to be without water like we'd been. I didn't tell my wife because she doesn't believe in revenge. I didn't tell her until the next week. So this lady had to go without water for Thanksgiving weekend. Neither her nor her guests would be able to shower or even flush the toilets. She'd screwed us over so many times. I saw my chance to get back at her. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.